So, here's the strat. You see this silly fish? Yep, he's pretty silly. He can deal a little bit of damage. I think it's more than enough to kill one thing. Now, although I'm explaining this, I actually need to remember that I have to record that, which I did in January. Anyway, this silly fish, according to my calculations, can deal more than 1 damage. Now, how does it get more than 1 damage? Oh, let me just... That guy, he helps with dealing more than 1 damage. See, Basculegion has a special thing called Last Respect. And see, what this magical, mystical move does is every time a Pokemon falls asleep, faints, whatever, in the game, his move gets a boost, 50% power boost. And with that, you can deal more than 1 damage. And because this guy can revive things, that means that helps, because that means he can get one more 50 boost, right? But what happened if we did that more than once? He can go on for a long time. Now, I have to set a vision here of what we're gonna have to have the setup in the end to look like. So let me just so this guy, his name's Chien Pao, and he's a cat, and he also nerfs the defense. Did I not mention that Last Respect is a physical move? That is why we use the male form of Basculegion, because he has more attack. That's why. Yes, I did like crop out swords and a cat to make that. But yeah, that's not what we're going to be targeting, because he's not quad weak to a ghost type move. But you know who is? The guy that has onion rings in his hands. Now, the guy with onion rings in his hands can be encountered at level 15 in Pokemon Go. So, what I did was I yoinked the guy from Pokemon Go, but I did it in Pokemon Showdown. So, hopefully, it's similar. But the battle did go on for a little bit long, so it's going to be very sped up. But yeah, fish is just gonna, whoops, move through. But the fish is just gonna do that to the thingy, and this guy is just gonna bounce around like that and revive stuff. And one of the Pokemon has to use I think it's a defense lowering move until the Hooper's defense is at the minimum, and the Basculegion is at max attack. I hope you like my explanation. Anyway, it's time to show the actual gameplay. Yippee!